February 18th school board meeting to order. George, can you take roll?
Sure. Colonel Evans?
Here.
Mr. Grozan?
Here.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Here.
Mr. Miko?
Here.
Mr. Naso?
Here.
All present.
Let's all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is part of the board meeting. We recite our district goals. We do this every single time because it's the basis for all of our decisions. So student achievement, financial prudence, and all the decisions, all the items on this board agenda reflect those goals. And with that, I will move it on to recognition. And Mr. Ryba?
Thank you, Mr. Naso. We do have one recognition. It's my privilege to bring Assistant Principal from Strongsville High School, Mr. Brian Tamino, to the podium, who is going to recognize one of our outstanding student athletes at the high school. Mr. Tamino.
Good evening, Mr. Ryba, members of the Board of Education. Tonight it is my sincere pleasure to represent Strongsville High School administration, faculty, and staff in honoring one of our finest senior students, DJ Arslanian. DJ was recently selected as the Newsnet 5 Scholar Athlete of the Week. You can see his video online if you're interested. DJ is a product of the Strongsville City Schools since kindergarten. He attended Allen Elementary and Albion Middle School before arriving at Strongsville High School. An avid competitive swimmer since the age of 10, DJ has a long list of accomplishments, including 2 years as a state meet placer, a 6th place state win in the 100 butterfly, a 6th place state win in the 200 free relay, and a 4th place state win in the 400 free relay. DJ has also been a Speedo Junior and NSCA National Team Qualifier. He currently holds 3 pool records and 3 team records. DJ, in addition to his swimming activities, has been a member of the Key Club and the Principal's Leadership Academy. He has worked as a swim coach as well as doing volunteer work at a local food bank. Academically, DJ has maintained a cumulative grade point average of over 3.4 while taking a rigorous curriculum of honors, advanced placement, and college-level coursework. He will continue his swimming career at Cleveland State University in the fall, and he plans to major in engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you Mr. DJ Arslanian.
Nice job. Congrats.
We're so proud of you.
Congratulations. Good luck in the future.
Excellent.
DJ, congratulations to you on this accomplishment. You know, being a swimmer is truly being a dedicated athlete. The amount of time that our swimmers put in, the morning hours, the late hours, the grind that is the season that you guys run is truly amazing. And to have those records is a great accomplishment, as well as to keep the courses, to keep the rigor, to keep that GPA that you've got going. So thank you for being a shining star for our district, and know that we're very proud of you. With that, Mr. Naso, I will go to my superintendent's report for the community. A couple items that just updates of dates to remember. Next week on February 25th is the official 200th birthday of the city of Strongsville. There'll be different events throughout the city, but one of the events that is going on is there will be open houses at different venues across the city for the community to walk through. And for the district, our new administrative offices will hold that open house, so from 2 to 5 o'clock on February 25th. Should anybody want to see our new home here at the administrative offices, this will be an open house for the community, as well as our 60 Seconds episode tomorrow will feature our new administrative offices and the renovation here to this building. On February 27th, another great community organization, our Strongsville Rotary, is holding their annual Chili Open. We have a very strong team of Ms. Turner, Ms. Pelko, Mr. Anagnosto, and me. So I don't know what kind of handicap we have, but it should be exciting to see.
Think you'll be enough of a handicap?
I won't even respond to that. Yeah, that's right. The snow can only help us. So we're looking forward to that and would encourage anybody that would like to participate in that great community event. I believe there's, you can apply online to put your foursome in, correct?
Absolutely. Yep, you can do the foursome, and please keep in mind that the amount of money that we make from the Chili Open, the Rotarians, we provide that money at, without overhead, goes straight to local charities. So it's a great event. Not only can you golf, and I've told everybody just bring your pitching wedge because it's really not golf, and then you can go in, have food, chili, those kinds of things, and also there's a great auction as well.
Yep, absolutely. And after you golf on Saturday with the Rotary, come eat breakfast on Sunday, February 28th, with our Strongsville Athletic Boosters, who will be holding a fundraiser at Applebee's, a pancake breakfast. You can contact Mrs. Horrig or Andy Jalwan, our athletic director. You do need tickets to attend. If memory serves, it's $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and a great fundraiser to help support a great organization. And then finally, on February 22nd, which I believe is Monday, demolition officially starts on the Center Middle School property, but it starts with our annex and our publications and food bank buildings that are there on the north side of the property. So the Board of Education office and Center Middle School obviously will still stay standing until the summer, but you will start to see, it's been fenced off already, but you will start to see actual demolition starting on Monday, which it's always sad to see those buildings go, but exciting for the next phase of our project, and that will be the future of our bus drop-off and overflow parking area as you enter. I'd also like to announce our Strongsville Education Foundation, which does tremendous amount of fundraising efforts and work on behalf of providing education grants as well as scholarships, is ready to announce their high school scholarship initiative for this year. There will be there's an opportunity through one form to apply for 35 scholarships at once. There are no restrictions other than being a senior, and the application date is Tuesday, March 1st by 3 p.m. This will go out in our e-blast update tomorrow to all of our parents and community, and there's scholarships ranging from $400 to $1,000 there's one for a student that may be interested in nursing for $2,500. So as we know, the cost of college continues to rise and rise. This would be a great opportunity to look for some scholarship money, and once again, we thank the Education Foundation for all their efforts to provide that support to our students. And then what I would like to do now is go over to the podium. I did want to give an update to the board and our community about our Excellence in Athletics campaign, so excuse me while I scoot over to the podium. So as we've been sharing with the Board of Education and had the opportunity to present at City Council earlier this week and various groups, our Excellence in Athletics campaign kicked off back in October, looking at the focus that, as you look at our logo and our motto of excellence in academics, excellence in arts, and excellence in athletics, we've spent a lot of our focus in raising our standards, improving our facilities for our students, and it is time for us to look at our athletic facilities. And the focus of the project, although we've talked about the weight room, the wrestling room, some other advancements, what I'd like to share with you tonight is where we're at in terms of our turf project component of it. So as we've talked about on numerous occasions, but it bears saying again, that due to the fact that Packatan Stadium has a natural grass field, the ability to use that up to its full capacity is greatly minimized. So we guarantee 5 home football games a year, and as long as lacrosse can stay on it before it becomes muddy and we have to relocate them, that's all that we're able to use that facility. So bringing synthetic turf would greatly not only enhance for athletic competitions and marching band competitions for our district, but would give our community as a whole another venue for activities, for camps, for sports, for youth programs as well to use, as well as greater access to the community because we don't have to protect a grass field. We can open our gates to have it as a walking track for our community members, to have another resource, as well as what we've talked about, our new Strongsville Middle School. As we look at the location of the Strongsville Middle School, where it's pushed back on the property, we have a football field and we have a 50-yard green area behind there. We need usable space for our PE classes, for our athletics, as well as what we've talked about for additional space for our community. It really is it's not a want, it's not a nice to have, it's a need for our students and our community as a whole. And again, as we said, as opportunities for our kids and community. As we take a look around neighboring districts, again, our neighboring districts with synthetic turf include Berea, Brunswick, Medina, and North Royalton. And what we've shown here on the bullet points below are the schools. If we took a look at our 2015 football schedule, all of the schools below are on synthetic turf, or do have synthetic turf as a part of their district. And as we look at our 2016 football schedule, all of our games will be played on synthetic turf except for two schools that we compete with. So again, to stay competitive with our area districts, it's something that we need to do for our students and our community. One of the things that is very important to us and we took seriously as we started this project is to look at the health and safety of our students as we propose moving from a natural grass surface to a synthetic turf. And we looked at it in two ways. We looked at it of just the safety and health of our students in terms of injuries on the playing field. And what we found through the peer-reviewed research studies is that actually injuries have been reduced on synthetic turf fields versus natural grass fields. The second part we looked at is obviously the night that we announced our Excellence in Athletic campaign, NBC aired their report about the correlation between increased rates of cancer and synthetic turf fields. So we've done a comprehensive analysis of the research that's out there, not only from turf companies, not only from the NCAA, but peer-reviewed research studies. And NBC in their report also noted that there is no direct correlation that any research study has found to state that synthetic turf causes increased risks of cancer for student athletes. There's nothing more important to me as superintendent than the health and safety of our students. And we are doing our due diligence to make sure whatever product we put down is in the best interest not only of competitive play and community use, but the well-being of our student body. What I would like to show you at this moment is a video that we put together. It's nice to hear why it's important to the adults in the room, but I think what's most impactful is hearing why it's important to our students. And if you bear with me for a second, we'd like to show you a brief video.
I started playing the trumpet in the 5th grade at Kinsner Elementary School with Mrs. Walchuk.
I first started playing soccer when I was young, about 5 years old.
I first started playing soccer when I was about 4 years old.
I started playing lacrosse in 4th grade. I've been with Strongsville since the beginning when we first started playing lacrosse in Strongsville.
I started cheering my freshman year of high school.
I've always been playing football ever since I was a little kid, playing backyard football with all my friends.
I first started playing lacrosse as a 5th grader, and it recently became sanctioned for the high school last year, so that was really exciting.
I have been playing soccer pretty much ever since I could walk. I mean, I don't remember a time in my life when I wasn't playing soccer.
I played lacrosse since 7th grade.
I've been playing lacrosse since about 4th grade, and I was actually a part of the first ever Strongsville lacrosse team.
Well, I've danced like all of my life, so it's been really easy to transition into cheering, and I first started cheering as a sophomore in high school.
I started playing music in 5th grade with Mrs. Welchuk at Sarar.
I first started playing football in 4th grade over my grade school in Strongsville.
I've been playing soccer since I was 5 years old, and it has always been a dream of mine to play for the Strongsville Lady Mustangs.
When I'm in the middle of a game, it's just so exhilarating and your adrenaline's pumping, and lacrosse is such a fast-moving game, so it's so exciting.
It feels great because all your teammates have your back and the crowd's just going crazy and you're just filled with adrenaline.
I think the most cool part about it is the student section and the interaction that we have with them, and just pumping up the crowd and pumping up the parents and everyone that's there in order to represent our school.
When I'm having a pretty good game, I feel unstoppable and I feel like I can achieve anything, and I feel like I always have to be doing something better and making more people proud.
It feels really exciting, and I'm really proud to be able to represent my team on the sidelines every Friday.
What I like best about playing in band is having so many different types of people coming together to accomplish one goal, and that goal is to put something onto the field to entertain the crowd.
It's undescribable how you do when you have a good game. I mean, just the whole crowd cheering for you and putting the team on your back, there's nothing like it.
The field is a huge part because, just for example, this year a couple of games have been canceled because we play on grass, and just how muddy it is and how the puddles just sit there.
Grass fields are a little more difficult to play on. It makes picking up the ball a lot harder, and there's a lot of injuries that come with like holes in the ground and stuff like that.
Our grass field is really nice, but in the fall it rains a lot, especially in Strongsville, and a couple of our games actually had to be delayed a couple hours on school nights, and we had one game actually we couldn't play it all the second half.
In lacrosse, there's a lot of time where the ball's on the ground, and being able to pick up those ground balls quickly is a really essential part of the game. And on an uneven field, sometimes when the grass is muddy or there's pits or craters, it's difficult to do that.
When we're moving and doing different formations, it's kind of dangerous when it's rainy because I've seen kids fall, I've seen tubas fall over, so very dangerous.
The field we have now, just a natural field, just having rain and having it be muddy can really affect the game. People like rolling ankles, and just when people try to make a cut in the field, it can really change the outcome of the game.
Turf fields are great. It picks up the speed of the game, and everyone always plays better on artificial turf.
A lot of the teams that we play do play on turf fields, and it really helps because it makes the game move a lot faster, and it helps how the team plays.
Most of the games that we play are on turf fields whenever they're away games, and it just makes the game a lot easier and a lot smoother. Every ground ball you pick up from every shot you take is just completely different on turf, and the game moves a lot faster, which is a huge part of lacrosse.
I think turf fields are really nice. We've played on some of them at away games, and they seem to be very nice, especially in the rain.
Most of all our away games are on turf fields. We're basically the only team without a turf field.
I just love that it speeds up the game. The ball goes so much faster on turf, and I think our team especially plays very well, and that makes it harder for us to be stopped. So a turf field would help us win, and it would be really beneficial to us.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Beneficial.
Improvement.
Impactful.
Competitive.
Victory.
Exciting.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
A gift.
Finally.
So if you're like me and you just want to watch this video over and over again, it is on our YouTube channel. And you could share it with the community and your friends, and it will be also in our update tomorrow. But as you can see, the impact that it would have on our students and our musicians would truly be remarkable. So where are we right now? We've talked about our fundraising campaigns, and we're campaigning not only with our staff, our local organizations, our community, civic groups, but also individuals, but also with corporate sponsorships. And as you can see behind me, as we know through the former board presentations, that Serpentini Chevrolet kicked our campaign off with a generous donation for the field turf the field naming rights at Pat Catan Stadium, as well as a concession stand. The Pat Catan family came through with a huge donation to provide the scoreboard sponsorship. But as you can see, we have various levels still left available for either individuals or corporate sponsorship opportunities. And our turf committee is actively pursuing and working with local businesses to solidify additional funds, which I'll kind of summarize where we're at on the next slide. So our fundraising progress thus far, as we see, $410,000. That was the $310,000 plus the 5 cars over 5 years for a value of $100,000. That's what we brought in December in our campaign. In January, that represents the Pat Catan family donation of $100,000. In February, so far, for individual donations, we've collected almost $9,000 in donations just from individual community members that have pledged towards the project. What you see down at the bottom, since the last time we met and gave an update, we have verbal commitments of $115,000 towards this project, which I think is just a tremendous amount of fundraising that's been done in 10 or so days. And what I mean by verbal commitments is obviously the board has to approve these commitments and will be brought to you as a recommendation. But based on our initial discussions, those are commitments that local organizations have made to this project. And as we shared right now in our bond fund for the middle school, if we go from a natural grass field to a synthetic turf field, there would be $150,000 savings in that project, which would be added to the total. So as we look at a $1.8 million campaign, our total fundraising efforts so far, in addition to the credit, has generated a little under roughly $783,000 and some change, which is 44% towards our target goal of $1.8 million. As I want to share with the board and the community, I'm excited. Our next meeting, March 3rd, I feel that we'll have another significant number to share with the board and the community as our fundraising efforts are ongoing, and every day there's different meetings and different conversations being held with local groups, individuals, and organizations that want to be part of this successful project because it's a winner for not only our district but our community. So unless there's any questions on the presentation or comments, that concludes my report to the community and the presentation on the turf project.
Cameron, one quick question I had. As of right now, we do not have a corporate sponsor for naming rights at the middle school.
That's
Am I
correct. That's correct.
I mean, really, which would be more of a community kind of field. We're talking about a place where it's in the center of town and would be a wonderful opportunity for someone to come in and contact us, contact you guys for naming rights on the middle school. So we're still searching for that one big donation to help us with that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's exciting, Cameron. I mean, we see these donations coming in. I know the activity that's going on this week. I've been talking to some of the other people who are knocking on doors, Jim Carbone for one, and some of the other people who are, you know, those numbers aren't in there. And I know they're getting close to getting some deals. We're going to get this done. I mean, this is the time we need anybody who can help us to step up and, you know, be part of this. We're just thrilled to death with all the organizations that are coming forward and just wanting to be part of it. And this is going to be incredible. 2 years, you know, a year from now, we'd have 2 turfed fields and a brand new middle school and a redone high school, and we're rolling. So it's going to be incredible. Mr. Duke.
Yeah, all I was going to say was just something that probably doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it anyway. When you have a premier school district like we're putting together here in terms of facilities, that keeps our home values high. So for everybody that's a business person in Strongsville or homeowners in Strongsville, these activities really help to keep the value of our community where it needs to be. And so we solicit your help. I've asked before, I'm sure everybody on the board here has asked before, but we appreciate all the businesses stepping up and coming in and maybe getting some of those sponsorships because it will give you exposure to the community and to the guests that come into the community. So it's an excellent opportunity, and it also helps our city and our community be the premier community that it is and demonstrate that, because a lot of people see what goes on in our schools.
And with that, Mr. Naso, that concludes my report to the community.
Thank you, Mr. Ryba. I don't see any public comment today. No slips. Nobody? Too late to close. No public comment. And Do we have it? Oh, if you,
Does he have homework?
do you have homework?
DJ.
DJ, do you have homework now? You don't have to stay for the rest of this boring part of this thing. If I were you, I'd head out, but I can stay, it'll be fun.
Second semester senior year, he's cruising.
He's already at Cleveland State, he's good to go,
Yeah.
all right? Viking. You got a great wrestling team there too, you could maybe. Okay, so that brings us to approval of minutes. We've got the the January 7th, January 9th special board meeting, and January 21st meetings, minutes to approve. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Duke. Thank you. Oh, I forgot.
It's
Lent.
Lent.
It's Lent,
It's
that's right.
Lent.
Richard gives up not seconding. This is excellent. Duke, I've got a second by Richard. And any discussion? Take roll.
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes,
Mr. Grosjean?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
excellent.
Thanks, Don. Good job.
That brings us to treasurer's report.
All right, so I have a few items tonight. The first one being is the financial report for the month ending January 31st, 2016, which is Exhibit A. To go along with it, I have my monthly presentation I do to kind of go over the financials.
Yep.
Since we've got a lot going on, I'll try and be brief, and since you guys are familiar with the actual presentation, I'll just touch on highlights on each slide, so I'm making my way to the podium.
Thank you.
Just as Mr. Naso stated earlier, district goals, student achievement and growth, and financial prudence. Obviously, the financial report goes over financial prudence. Under financial prudence, it's the cost-saving efforts that we have done over the years and continue to do in the future. This slide has been up there every presentation and just in there for if someone picks it up for the first time. General fund summary. Monthly comparison of revenues and expenditures from January for the past 3 years compared to this year. The highlights on this slide include, as you can see, compared to January of last year versus January of this year, our property tax collections are up by 1.5 million. Total revenues up by 100,000. Just want to point out, although property taxes coming in through January of this year compared to last year, it's not an indication that our collections are going up. What the county does is they advance us our property taxes as they're being collected, and they do a final settlement in April. So it's just, what this is indicating right now is just more tax have been paid through January compared to January of last year. So we'll see what our final settlement is in April. It should be slightly higher, but I don't think it's going to be that much. I don't think it's going to be 1.5 million higher. I think it's just the advance coming in sooner. Also, our expenditures, they're trending slightly lower than last year of this point in time as well, which is primarily the salaries coming in, trending a little lower. General fund revenues. Through January, we've collected 39.5 million, or 55% of our total forecasted revenues of 71.7 million. As you can see, we're still looking to collect another 20 million of property taxes, as I mentioned. So we'll see in April how that pans out. Also, the other one thing I want to point out on this slide is we received our final payment for casino revenues, which totaled 280,000, which is an increase of 12,000 from what I had forecasted. Revenues by category compared to this point in time over the last 3 years. They're trending similar. As mentioned, taxes seem to be a little higher compared to January. Foundations has been the same in the past 3 years. Our state property allocation, that's slightly lower because of the TPP coming out and being to be paid through foundation, was reduced. A reduction of 1.4 million, which we saw half of it being collected, and the other half is going to be in our foundation. So it's taken from one bucket to the next, which we still haven't received yet. And then our other is trending right around the same as it was in years past. General fund expenditures, through January, 58.92% of the total appropriation has been expended or encumbered. Statistical spending range, 7 of 12 months, or 58.3 of the fiscal year has passed, and 15 out of 25 pays, or 60%, have passed. So overall, the 58.92 expenditure level is where it should be for this point in time. Expenditures through January. The column on the left represents the portion of percent of the budget that's been expended. The graph on the right shows the actual expenditures compared to the last 3 years. As you can see, everything is kind of trending where it should be based on years past. The slide on the left, the black line is based on the point in time, and the gold average is just 3-year average of the purchase services capital outlay and debt and other objects. Those are more nonlinear, and it's depending on how items are needed, invoices come in, and the time of purchases. So our general fund cash balance, the chart on the left shows our total revenues year to date through January, 39.4 million, total expenses 38.8 million. So overall, our revenues over expenses about 600,000, leaving us with an ending cash balance of 12.9 million. And then as you can see on the graph on the left, our cash balance is slightly higher than it has been in the past 3 years at this point in time as well. Student fee balances through February 17th, we have a student fee balance outstanding of 128,000, which is made up of 1,356 students. Of this amount, 54,000 or 42% is from this year, and the remaining 74,000 or 58% is from past due from years past. Food service fund, food service revenues through January. The chart on the left represents revenues through the month end and that we've actually received, and the chart on the right represents revenues that have been earned. The difference between the two is just our federal reimbursement is received always a month after it has been earned, so it's just kind of normalizing. So I'm doing the one, putting it where it's earned, just to kind of normalize it. As you can see, revenues for this year have increased. Three major reasons. Breakfast is in full implementation. We've also had more additional serving days because we started school earlier, and then also through January last year, we had 4 calamity days, and so far this year, Mr. Rybo, we have 0.
You're welcome.
So each day, so to put it in perspective, each day represents revenue about $8,400. So those total 11 days make up close to $88,000. Number of meals served were higher through this point in year last year because of the reasons I stated. The average meals per day is slightly higher than it was from last year at this point in time as well.
Hey, George.
Yes.
On that chart, on the average meals per day,
right.
Is it possible to isolate out the breakfast impact? So how's like our lunch and our how's our lunch plan doing compared to?
Yeah, so on the next slide, this is our breakfast. So the number of breakfasts served, as you
How
can see.
quickly you prepared that slide. Bam.
So on the next slide is our number of breakfasts actually served through January compared to last year. It's up close to $14,000 or 14,000 breakfasts. We're in full swing last year, where last year was being implemented in phases, and then the average breakfast per day is up from 239 breakfasts to 364 breakfasts a day. Then on the next slide is the breakfast participation rate. So you can see from last year we went to 4% to this year close to 7%, and now the lunches. So the lunches, although the number of lunches we've served is higher this year, I think the primary reason is the additional serving days, but the average lunches per day have been declining over the past 3 years for the same point in time. So I think that answers.
Yep, that's exactly it. Thank you.
Lunch participation rate, kind of been around the same as in the last 3 years. 14, it was around 45%. Last year, 42.94%, and this year it has gone back up to close to the 44%.
So even though we're serving fewer lunches, it's more of an enrollment item as well, as much
Right.
as it is anything else, because the
Our
participation percentage is up. So, okay.
Our enrollment's shrinking as well.
Yep.
Revenues per meal versus the cost per meal. As you can see, we're through January, we're closing the gap on the revenues per meal to the cost per meal. And then the slide on the left shows the cash position compared to last January. So last year you can see it's at 180,000. This year we're about right now we're in the ballpark of about 50,000, negative 50,000 deficit through January. I kind of forecasted out the rest of the year. Once the additional days catch up for the additional school, for the starting school early, so we'll end school early in May. So once those days catch up, and the fact that last year we had 4 calamity days in January, 3 calamity days in February, so a total of 7 calamity days. And with that being about $8,500 a day in revenue, we probably we'll have those 7 days back this year. So I'm trending our deficit at the end of the year to be about somewhere in the ballpark of 125 to 150,000, which is an improvement from last year. So that's.
Quick question, George.
Sure.
In our high school,
Right.
and I understand, can you give us what your office defines as a meal? Because there's so much of what revenue that the cafeteria is making in the high school
Right.
isn't just based on a meal. And for those people who don't understand how the cafeteria and system works and reimbursement works through the federal government, a meal has to constitute certain different items. We have to even give that child an item, even if they don't want it. They might take 2 steps from the cash register and throw it away, but we have to give it per the definition of a meal to get reimbursed. What I'd be interested in also seeing, to get a full picture, and maybe in one of these slides, is the a la carte items.
So
You know,
what we do to get that meal equivalent, so we take that a la carte item into account. So we take the number of dollars that we see from the a la carte sales, and the state allows us to convert that into a meal equivalent. And we use, I believe it's the lunch price, Joe? The lunch price, and that's how we divide the total dollars that we brought in for a la carte, divide by our lunch price, so we get the meal that way. So that's our meal equivalent.
But one of the ways that our cafeteria generates revenue is by being able to constitute so many meals
Right.
and get reimbursed for so many meals that we send out.
Well, those meal equivalents are part of the reimbursement.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that correct, Joe? No? Oh.
We don't get reimbursed on a la carte.
Okay.
So the trick is, or the thing is by having children want to purchase a meal, instead of just going to get a bottle of water and a snack, the district makes more
Right.
by that reimbursement. And it'd be interesting to see at some point, not just for this, but to see how that trend is moving up and down, if you can get some historical data. Nothing for now.
Okay.
But that is something I would like to see we're doing better at that, or we're not doing better at that?
Right.
Because we should know those numbers.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have them.
George, I just want to commend you on the collection of the fees. That's a significant improvement from what we saw when George and I came into office a couple of years ago. It was up near 270,000, something like that. So we're making good progress. For those who still owe the fees from back years, please pay up. For those who owe for this year, please pay up, because it helps us to balance the books. Thanks.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Nope. Good.
All right. Is this it? Okay. All right, for my remaining treasurer's report, item B, transfer of funds. This is the transfer of $1.1 million from the general fund to Fund 35 termination benefit funds. Severance is paid to retired OPSI employees in August, and then in January, we paid for retired SEA and leadership employees that have retired from the previous year. The total severance amount was $1.5 million this year compared to $1.2 million that was paid last year, and that was also the amount that I budgeted in the account for this year. So as a result, Fund 35 has a negative cash balance of $300,000. As of now, I'm recommending to transfer $1.1 million from the general fund to cover the negative and leave a balance of $850,000 within the Fund 35. The $1.1 million was a budgeted line within the general fund. That fund doesn't generate revenue, so the only way revenue's coming in there is if we transfer it over. And the reason it was set up was to track severance separately and not in the general fund. We could pay for it out of the general fund as well, but it was set up this way. At the end of the school year, I'll be also recommending that we do another transfer from the general fund to Fund 35 to bring up the $850,000 to the estimated payment for next year. I want to wait to do this until the end of the year because I want to see if we have any budget savings in our current budget rather than increasing the general fund budget right now. And then also as retirements are starting to come in this year, we'll have a better estimate of what that amount will be paid for next year. No questions. Item C, approval of new funds. I'm creating a new Fund 199955 to put in the donation for the scoreboard rather than combining it with the turf funds. Just easier accounting for us that way. Item D, student activity revisions. Exhibit B, there's 2 student activity revisions. The first one's for high school girls tennis. It's a budget increase of $2,400 to account for a fundraising they will do. So they'll bring in the revenue, and then they're also increasing their budgets to account for the expenses. And then high school student council. This is not a budget change, but only revising their purpose and goal statement. And it's changing it for the purpose and goals to reflect fundraising and donating to a worthy cause. There was a family that was victim to a house fire, and the students want to do a fundraiser to help that family out. So just updating their purpose and goals to reflect that. Item E, grant approvals. Albion Middle School, there's Strongsville Education Foundation grant for Strong Body, Strong Mind, Strongsville, in the amount of $3,499 to be used in the PE department. And then at the high school, another Strongsville Education Foundation grant for Chromebooks in the amount of $9,000. Item F, amendment to the permanent appropriations. Exhibit C, on the exhibit I have listed out what those are, but I'll go over a few of them. Fund 19, increase a total of $34,475.78, and this is for the 2 grants, the $9,000 and the $34.99 from the SEF grants. Then also $21,977 on the E-rate line to bring up the E-rate budget to $85,940, which will match the cash the E-rate funds that we received this year. Fund 22, this is our Ohio High School Athletic Association Tournament Fund. This is for any funds that we host tournament games. Those funds have to be accounted separately in a different fund where we receive the revenue and then have to give it back to the state. Then the state reimburses for the revenue, but we have to track it in a separate account. Increasing $15,000 to have enough appropriation for winter and spring tournament games. Fund 35, the termination benefits account, mentioned increase $332,480 from $1.2 million to the $1.5 to match the severance that was paid. And then also in Fund 300, increased $2,400 for the girls' high school tennis fundraiser. Item G, invoice order approval after the fact. This was for a paper order at the high school in the amount of $4,320. Clerk there believes she had money left on her current purchase order when she placed the order for paper. After she placed the order and the invoice came, she realized her PO ran out. There was plenty of budget left. It was just a timing of when the purchase order was done. And then finally, item H, the Ohio Public Records Training Certification. Within the 4 years of a board member's term, you're required to go to a public records training, or you can designate the treasurer, me to go as your delegate. So this is you're voting to formally delegate me to go on your behalf, which would cover all of you within your current 4-year terms. And you're still free to go if you wanted to, but this will just cover you just in case.
Thank you.
And that's all. That concludes my report.
All right. That brings us to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Ney. So I have a couple items for your consideration. First, as we were addressing prior to winter break due to different world events, specifically over in Europe, we approved in last April 2 trips, a trip to France and Italy, as well as a trip to Spain. And be it resolved, the recommendation of the superintendent that that previously approved trip to France and Italy that would have taken place June 13th to the 22nd of 2016 be canceled due to world events and the impact this could have on student safety, as well as the cancellation of the trip to Spain, which would have taken place June 13th through the 24th, 2016, and the cancellation is for those same reasons. Obviously, I had an opportunity to meet with all the families of the students attending those trips, and it's not a recommendation that I make lightly, but as I talked about earlier in terms of the turf, our student safety and well-being is of our utmost importance, and the risk did not outweigh the reward for this trip, hence my recommendation to cancel those trips. If we move to page 9, the third item is we did have, so what we worked on, and it's in the curriculum part of the agenda, but we worked on providing alternate locations for those trips. So we worked with the tour company and the families, and we planned, instead of Spain, we planned Ecuador and Galapagos as a trip. And all of, I believe there were 21 students that were traveling to Spain. 20 of them have decided to go to the Ecuador Galapagos trip. And we'll be participating in that should the board approve that recommendation later. We had 41 students that were planning to go to Paris and Italy. We provided an alternative trip of Quebec. I understand that when you say, hey, Paris and Italy or Quebec, that it just doesn't add up, and we did not get enough students that drew interest to the Quebec trip. We needed 12 students. We did not get 12 students to enroll in that trip. Therefore, the trip was canceled. So of those 41 students, 18 of them decided either to take a voucher. We offered vouchers from the company that within a year you can use all the money you've paid for the trip to go elsewhere with another tour group or to travel with your family. Or if you would like to travel abroad, you can go with our Spanish trip, and you can go to Ecuador and Galapagos and learn history, learn culture, but just obviously not as heavy of an experience in the French language. So we ended up with 18 students made those choices and families. 23 students decided that they were not interested in a voucher. They weren't interested in a trip. We also offered, we worked with Brunswick, who's going to overseas trip, and offered our students to go with that tour group. So we had 23 families that decided not to do any trip. With that, there's a $550 fee or cancellation charges that our families will not get back. So when they get reimbursed all the money for the trip, the $550 that they won't get back, $95 is of an application fee. You put in for the trip, it's non-reimbursable. 155 of that was trip insurance. That is lost because we canceled the trip. They don't get that back. The $300 was the tour group. It was their cancellation fee. Because it was not to the level of a worldwide alert that they deemed that travel is not appropriate, and we made the decision to cancel the trip, they assess a $300 additional fee. And when I met with our high school administration and I met with our families, a lot of our students that attended, they worked for this money. They fundraised, they had a job, and they put their own money towards this. And so with that, I am recommending to the board that we reimburse the $300 cancellation fee to the 23 students that have decided not to go, minus any overdue fees that may be outstanding for the students. So we have gone through the 23 students. We have looked at who does or does not have overdue fees. So, Mr. Naso, I would need to make one adjustment to the verbiage there. where it says, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the district reimburse the $300 cancellation fee. We just need to put in there minus overdue fees to 23 students who would have attended trips in France and Italy and Spain, which were canceled by the district due to world events. The reimbursement represents $300 per student at a total amount not to exceed $6,900, and the district deems this reimbursement to be a proper public purpose, as it was the district's decision to cancel the trip. And this would require a separate vote.
Mike, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, George.
Second.
Thank you, Richard. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that back in Desert Shield and Desert Storm, I was deployed in an area where we were under threat from terrorists every night, and we didn't know if they were there or not. We were told that they were in our area, and it was pretty scary. Even if you're in a military base and you have fences and guards and things, when you're out in an area like that, in a strange part of the world, where you have the potential threat, like we've seen, what we saw in Paris here last November, it can be a very bad thing. And I think it was a very tough decision. I know that Superintendent Ryba considered everything very carefully before he made that recommendation. And I support him 100%, having been in some of the areas of the world, including Europe, where you really don't have the same culture that we have here. One of the biggest mistakes Americans make when they go overseas is to suspect that everybody over there holds the same values that we do. They don't. And so I think it was a good, wise decision in the best interest of the safety of our kids. And to be honest with you, going to see the Galapagos Islands would be a pretty awesome trip in my mind, versus Spain, which I've been to Spain, it's okay. You know, I mean, and France, France, the same thing. I've been there too, and some of the French were pretty snotty. So I think Galapagos was a great option. Quebec, I'm not so sure, but you know, I mean, we had limited options there, right? Could have gone down, I guess, to one of the islands, but.
Yeah, the tour company that we work with, when we looked at the trips to French-speaking countries that were safe opportunities for our students, it was Quebec.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sacre bleu. Okay. Anyway, I support your decision, and think it's kind of fair that we pay back some of this money. So that's all I got, Mr. Naso.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Richard.
Mr. Naso, yeah, I just wanted to comment. Thank you. I just wanted to comment that the way it reads and the way we discuss it, it sounds as if we're giving the $300 back to the students per se to just be nice, or because we think it's unfortunate that they didn't go on the trip. The reality of it is it's a consequence of the way the contract was written with the tour company. The way I look at this is a one-time issue. We have now learned our lesson as a district. And so while this is the right thing to do today, we've learned our lesson as a district. We're going to keep on going on trips. Those are great opportunities for our students. The world is going to continue to be an unsafe place, and we're going to have to make these kinds of decisions again in the future. So we have been warned. We're going to do assuming we all vote for it, we're going to do what's right this time. But going forward as an administration, we need to plan on these kinds of things, and either the participants need to be very aware of the choice they're making and what could happen if events occur, or we need to do a better job of negotiating with the travel companies, because they're the ones who have to deal with this just as much as we do. Again, I understand the rationale, because I think it's the right thing to do based on our negotiations and the contracts that we did have with the travel group. But going forward, we now have learned that lesson, and it should not happen again. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Vote?
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Mr. Mickel?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excellent.
Unless there are any questions, that concludes my timely information report.
Thank you.
With that, I'll have Mark Donnelly come up to give his business service report for this month. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Ryba. Tonight, under Business Services, we have 3 items. The first is our monthly construction update. And just to go over a few items, what's going on at the high school, or, excuse me, what's going on at the middle school. I want to show you a picture of the 3rd floor at the middle school in the middle of construction. The blue drywall you won't see because that will be covered by lockers, but you can see the accent color in the hallway, and each classroom will have one wall, an accent wall with that same color on the 3rd floor. The orange color is the 8th grade floor. It's more of the walls. The lockers obviously will cover this part here that hasn't been painted. They don't waste the paint on areas that will not show. This is a shot from the 2nd floor looking out into what is a courtyard behind the building. The green panels are going up. You'll see that covering the white area around the top of the building, and it'll also cover in front of the building over the awning that is sticking out and some of the eaves in the very front. So that Strongsville green will accent the front and back of the building. Here's a science classroom. We have cabinets going in. We have these cabinets, same color, same style throughout the building. They're very nice. The cabinet drawers work very well. They're well equipped and been used in schools across the country. Same classroom on the other side of the room, so there's plenty of cabinets in that science classroom. This is the 2nd floor. The accent wall is a blue. I'm not sure if that's a powder blue, sky blue, but that is the accent color that will be in each room as well as down the hallway. And the ceiling grid, you can't really see it well here, but the ceiling grid in every classroom is slightly slanted. It's up near the window and comes down slightly into the classroom. The purpose of that is to take full advantage of sunlight, and the sunlight can come in and reflect down on the students. Closer to the windows where it's brighter, sensors in the room will dim those lights more, and closer to the wall where it's not as sunny, they're dimmed less, so there's an even amount of light throughout the room. They're trying to, it's an engineering architectural feature that tries to take full advantage of the sunlight. It's a lead thing to use sunlight, but if you walk into a classroom, you see a slanted ceiling, you're not imagining things. It is slightly slanted.
Mark, I have a question. Now that
Sure.
you mentioned lead, I remember us discussing this when we were going through the beginning. Are we going to be lead silver or gold when we're done?
Silver.
I know we'll be at least lead silver, but some of the things they've done, we may qualify for gold. I'd have to work with Dana and the architect, 'cause some of the things we're working on, we may or may not get credit up until the very end of the project. They make a determination. But we will be lead silver.
Okay.
But I think there's a few things that they've put into the program. If we get that extra 10 points, we make lead gold.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. This is the 1st floor, 6th grade wing. And that is the accent color, the green color. And this may not be true. I noticed on my computer when I took the picture, it appeared slightly different due to the construction lighting. It adds a yellow hue to the paint color. You have to be there on site and actually see it. And when we get the fluorescent lights up that are in the classrooms, you'll notice a true color. But that is one of the restrooms.
What color is it?
It's bright green.
It's green.
It's bright green.
It's not Strongsville, it's a lime green-ish. That has been washed out by the sun. That's not a good shot, but that's just an example of how the color gets washed out when you're trying to, take a picture of it. But that is one of the hallways, or off the hallway in the 1st floor. This is a kitchen. Quarry tile is gone in throughout. They still have the grout to do, but the quarry tile's put throughout the kitchen. Prior to putting the quarry tile in, they have to put in the freezer and cooler, so that quarry tile runs straight, even level into the cooler. It's like they can roll carts of stuff into that area. So the coolers are in, freezer is in, not operational just yet, but all the pieces and parts are there. Now on to the high school. Here we are at the high school, starting phase 5. This is in the athletic corridor going out the one wing as you head towards the athletic director's office. They obviously are starting floor prep here as the demo is complete. There's 2 different shots here of the ductwork, the heating and cooling systems going in. It's not exciting stuff to the regular common person, but it is an important piece of the construction project to upgrade the ductwork, upgrade the heating and cooling. Those are large expenses for us, and it makes a better environment for the kids, for the staff in the building. But just so you know, those things are happening right now. They put in new locker bases. We have a painted room. They put in new ceiling tile, ceiling grid already in one of the locker rooms. They're moving quickly in this area. And We've seen the same pattern throughout the building, but they are continuing to paint the hallways the same. This could be a shot of the 600 wing as far as you know, but it's just more of the same paint. It's ongoing, and they are staying up to the schedules that Jeff has set for the building. This is the music room, choir room actually. It's been demoed, it's been painted. The ceiling grid was not scheduled to be replaced in this room. It was decent, but it wasn't perfect, but just a cost-saving measure. That is, the ceiling will be left there unless, you know, something comes along that says we need to do something different or can afford to do something different. At this time, we are watching every dollar very closely, but we will paint, or it has been painted, excuse me. We will put new floor in here. There's, let's see, so I think some speakers will be going in here as well, maybe some microphones, but there's some technology to be added to the room. But we are moving along in the music area of the building very quickly. At this time, I'd like to bring Dana Strizzi up. As we talked last time about the middle school schedule and what it takes to get from here to the end of summer at the middle school, Dana has a presentation to go over. Oh, how do I get this up? Wait a minute. Here we go. Dana's going to discuss a couple pieces and parts of the high school, where we're at, what we have to do, and how crazy the summer is going to be as far as all the construction. Even though it's a 12-week-long summer, it's a very tight schedule. So with that, I'm going to have Dana come up and speak to our high school construction schedule. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure when I can come up and say we are on schedule and we are on budget. So that's a good thing. What I wanted to come up and show you is to explain where we've been, where we're going, when we're going to get there, and how we're going to finish up on the high school project from inside and out. So in the slide behind me, you'll see in the green areas are phases 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we've done and completed those areas with a small asterisk of the lockers in phase 2. Those are coming this summer. As you remember, we didn't get the lockers delivered in time, so we put the old ones in. Those will be replaced this summer. So those phases have been done and complete. Phase, as Mr. Donnelly mentioned, we're currently doing phase 5. So phase 5 includes the music wing. Phase 5 includes the auxiliary gym 2 and associated locker rooms and some of the classrooms. So phase 5 is currently ongoing. Phase 5 will finish up here towards the end of the school year and then starts the summer. So phase 6 will be all of the summer work, and you can see it highlighted in a purple color-ish on the screen. And starting with the main entrance, we will modify the main entrance to make it more open. We will not reconfigure, but renovate some of the offices adjacent to the main entrance. The majority of the work this summer will be in the cafeteria and the main gymnasium. So in the cafeteria, complete gut of the ceiling, of the floors. We will be putting in a new cafe. We will be putting in a new skylight. We will be putting in a new ceiling and lights. There will be new furniture scheduled for the cafeteria. All of the serving area for the cafeteria will be redone. So points of sales will be upgraded. We will be back into the main prep area for the kitchen and renovating that. And then we will go to the gymnasium, where you'll have a new floor. It'll get painted. You'll have new pads on the wall. That's all going to take place this summer. The shop area will be addressed. Moving down into the other parts, the planetarium, the computer lab, the business area. These pieces will all be attacked simultaneously through the summer, starting as soon as school's out and then continuing all the way to hopefully right before school begins. So that's the game plan as we proceed through the summer. A lot of work to do on the inside, and it would not be without the work and the help of the people at the school, Mr. Smithberger and Mark Donnelly. The coordination has just been fantastic to let us do our work. It's a lot of moving around. It's a lot of inconvenience, but we appreciate the help, and without that, we couldn't be as successful as we are going to be. So that's how the inside of the building lays out. So what I'd like to also do is talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing concurrently outside the building. Highlighted in the light green are areas of parking that we are going to address under the base bid. So right now we're out for bid for the furniture, and we're out to bid for this site work that you're seeing here. And highlighted in green is what's called a base bid. So no matter what, the asphalt in those areas will be addressed. When I say addressed, currently on the drawings, we are going to mill off the top 2 courses of asphalt down to the stone base and replace it. Some areas have to go full depth because the deterioration of the parking lot dictates that, and we will be putting some underground drainage in, new drainage in the parking lots to help in the future alleviate the soft spots and deterioration. So all the levels in light green will be addressed. We do have alternates in the bid package. The best way to utilize any bid day savings, the best way to keep the district's wants and needs as a list prioritized and take advantage of any savings is to make it, is to list alternates. Maybe we can afford to do them, maybe we can't. They're not base bid right now, but a couple of those are, if you see the light blue areas, are areas of parking lot and sidewalks and culvert pipe that we have currently as an alternate to the bid, and if we are able to do them financially, we will include them in this bid package. Also the loop road. One of the alternates is to full depth replace the loop road. High traffic, a lot of buses, a lot of cars. So full depth replacement means we take both levels of the asphalt off. There's 2 levels. If you ever notice when they pave a road, the first level of asphalt has a lot of bigger aggregate in it. It's called the base course. And then you have another wearing course, a couple of inches of blacktop on top of that. So underneath both those layers is a layer of stone and drainage. That's a full depth replacement, goes from what you drive on all the way to the dirt. So there's an alternate in our bid package currently to replace the entire loop road full depth with high density, high traffic asphalt application. So that's out to bid. That's due on the 24th of February. We will be analyzing those bids, working with the district to see what we can take as alternates, and awarding and starting that construction as soon as school's out. Now, we'll start around May 23rd or so, and then we will, depending on how the alternates are accepted, will dictate our attack to the areas. So it will go from one end to the other. And if we are fortunate enough to be able to accept alternates, it will modify how we approach it a little bit, but not much. So all this work will be done between the May 23rd and the beginning of school, probably around the beginning of August, so that areas can be cut loose for teachers to come and park and get ready for the new school year. So we'll systematically phase that to allow that to happen. Highlighted in yellow is what's going to be on the spring of 2017. Phase 7 falls into the end of this year. That construction happens to be adjacent to where, if you notice where our construction trailers are, that's the area in yellow, and that's the construction road. So once Phase 7 is complete by the end of the year, we probably won't get to that until spring of 2017, where we will take that road out and replant the grass. So there's a lot of things happening over the course of the summer. We are attacking probably 50% of the inside of the building and close to everything that's flat on the outside of the building. And that will happen between May and August. So it's going to be a real busy summer, and we appreciate the board and the district helping us giving us the ability to proceed uninhibited with any sporting or school events in the school. So that's a tremendous help. So as we proceed through the summer, you'll see a lot of things happening here all the way up till the start of school. Similarly with the demolition of the buildings at the middle school.
So it seems like part of the plan to get all that work done is, once you get the workers inside the building, you'll tear up all the roads so they can't get out.
Yeah,
And then
we're going to keep them there 24/7. We won't
And
let
then
them
they'll just
out.
be working around the
We won't
clock
let
because they
them
can't get out
And
until the
part of
roads are
that,
done.
yeah, part of that, Mr. Naso.
How do you get them in?
Well, we're going to leave access roads to the areas that we will complete with the asphalt at the end of at the end. So we'll work systematically with getting the workers in and out. And there's not a lot of heavy things going in. But any deliveries we'll coordinate so that we don't run over new asphalt or paving to get them in and out.
If I could add to this whole thing. First, you remember a couple months ago, we mentioned we're going to need a lot of patience from the community and our students and our teachers. That high school campus is going to be shut down this summer. So when I say it's shut down, there will be nothing but construction inside and out. I mean, you can tell that we're going to be doing a lot of paving. There's going to be people all over the place. And let me give you, I've been in 2 construction meetings this week, 64 days. In 64 days, we have teachers and administrators walking into our new middle school. 64 days. That's a massive amount of work to do. That's also a massive amount of work for the high school because we basically got to let Mr. Smithberger and everybody in to turn key. Now, you still have got other things going on. I also want to highlight, and I wish I could capture this in a better way than me just talking about it every month or so, but we talk about how we try to save money from the base bid. How do we manage this project and squeeze every single penny we can? Does everybody notice what gas prices are right now? Petroleum costs? If we would have bid the asphalt back when we did our initial bids a year and a half ago, imagine how much more just the material cost would be to pave that much parking lot. So by great management from Hammond Construction, GPD, our architect firm, and Roger Riachi, we're able to stage and put those bids in the right timing. If you notice, and I'm going to call this the Steve Dietrich parking lot, because this is one of his ideas, that blue parking lot on the bottom right is the overflow lot next to the bus garage. And the idea here is, again, we're trying to make the most out of what we have. We're going to take the grindings of the asphalt, the top 2 layers, from the parking lots and the loop road. We're going to dump them on that blue spot. So we save money because we don't have to pay someone to take that material and dump it someplace. They're going to dump it on that lot. We're going to stripe it. We're going to light it. The most expensive part about that whole lot is a proper sidewalk and lighting from that lot to Packatan Stadium. I think we increased parking spaces by how much?
You know what, I don't know the exact number.
Oh, well.
Yeah, probably
80
close
and some
to
change.
80.
And the reason why we're doing that is, and Mr. Smithberger's proud of it, those college courses that our students are taking, that's only increasing. So we hope to get the alternates. We're working really hard to get those alternates. We've got a couple culverts that need to be replaced as well. So it's a big, huge project. I want to thank Hammond for doing and working so hard on these projects. But again, we're trying to put as much as we possibly can in, not only into the base bids, but we're saving money every single spot we can. So again, campus is going to be shut down. We have 64 days to go before we start moving into our new buildings.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Question. Since the shutdown of the high school is going to be apparent to all of us here, we have families that are moving in over the summer that might not be aware of what's going on. Is there going to be proper signage to direct people where to go, that they can't come into this
Oh,
high
yes.
school?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll close anything that poses a danger to anybody trying to come toward the site. There'll be signage, there'll be gates, there'll be fences.
Okay.
So there won't be any
But they'll
way.
be directed where to go instead of, this isn't the high school now, it's Kinsner Elementary School, I believe, is our satellite high school.
Yes, we'll
Okay.
alert
Okay.
anybody that comes there.
I just want to minimize the frustration for
Gotcha.
people. Thank you.
So that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
And if that's it for questions on for the construction renovation update, I have 3 reminders. We've said these dates and places multiple times, but as a reminder, community walkthrough dates for the buildings that are closing this spring. Drake will be on April 5th, 5 to 7 in the evening. Albion will be done on April 12th, 5 to 7 in the evening as well. And Center Middle School will have a final walkthrough from the community on April 19th, 5 to 7 o'clock as well. So I will be at each one of those to greet people as they come in. We had people sign in. We did the final walkthrough of the board building. A lot of people got to talk to each other and reconnect. A few people from the class of 51, 67, 69. It's kind of interesting to see these people come through. It was kind of a neat event. I'm looking forward to seeing the different people come through for these same walkthroughs. And item 2 on my agenda tonight, Ohio Schools Council cooperative bidding and purchase of school bus program. There is no fee for this because it's included in our membership fee for Ohio Schools Council, but I'm basically asking the board for authorization to request that they go out for bid for us on our behalf for 5 additional school buses next year. And I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Strongsville Board of Education approves participation in the Ohio Schools Council cooperative bidding and purchasing of school bus program, and authorizes the Ohio Schools Council to advertise and accept bid on said board's behalf as per the specifications submitted for the cooperative purchase of up to 5 65-passenger conventional school bus chassis and bodies.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Duke, second by Richard. Any discussion? Have a vote?
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Micko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the final item under business services tonight, the National Wild Turkey Federation donated $500 to be used towards the purchase of archery equipment for the Strongsville City Schools Middle School's archery program. And unless there are questions, that completes my report.
$500, wild turkey.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Moving on to curriculum, unfortunately, Erin Green, our Director of Curriculum, could not be here this evening, so I'll be standing in for her. The first item for your consideration is the Strongsville Middle School Curriculum Guide for the 2016-17 school year. We would like to highlight some new courses that are in the curriculum guide. Last year, we initiated a design and modeling class for 7th graders that will still be there, but 8th graders will also have elective options of robotics and medical detective. So those are exciting classes that will be offered for our 8th graders next year. For 7th grade, we've had an introduction to family consumer science, but we've added principles of food for 7th graders, and that will also, in our family consumer science department, will go into an 8th grade, an option for career connections course. So we've got some outstanding programming already in place at the middle school, and look forward to adding those new courses to the docket for our students. Under number 2, we are recommending the adoption of a pre-K through 5 music program. The textbooks adopted for pre-K to 5 through 5 music is presented Exhibit D. These materials have been recommended by professional staff and reviewed by the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee. As you can see in Exhibit D, this is for an 8-year hybrid adoption, which means we will have textbooks available, but a technology component that will further our quest of being a progressive technology district while maintaining our excellence in the arts. The last time we adopted new elementary textbooks and materials was 18 years ago. So it is much overdue and will be a great resource for our music curriculum in the elementary grades. Under item 3, a service agreement through PSI affiliates. Again, this is Title I funds pass-through. That it's the recommendation that we enter an agreement in the amount of $2,278.54 for 1 part-time Title I teacher to service pupils attending Academy of St. Adelbert under the Title I federal funding administered to approved non-public schools by local districts found in Exhibit E. Once again, we are, I knew it a second ago, what do we call it, George? The fiscal agent.
We're the fiscal, yeah.
I know I get
fiscal.
it. We are the fiscal agent for the federal funds for our local parochial schools, and that is their money to use, and we're allocating it as per the request. In number 4, as we talked about, we've canceled the Spain trip, but for your approval, the Strongsville High School World Language students trip to Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands, that they be permitted to travel with Strongsville High School Spanish teacher Janet Sansevera with world language students to Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands, June 15th through the 23rd. Expenses associated with the trip will be paid by participating students. If necessary, the trip may be postponed or the destination changed depending on world events at the time. I would like to personally thank Janet and Alana Vendetta, our two teachers that have truly worked tirelessly to ensure that we had opportunities for our students. I know my recommendation put everybody in a challenging situation, as we talked about, but they've been phenomenal in working through this process, and appreciate all the efforts that they've put in. So unless there's questions, that concludes the report for curriculum.
Thank you, Cameron. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to compliment the music adoption again, that hybrid approach is the right way to go. If it's not obvious, you know, the thought of music, doing those kinds of things online actually lets you hear the music, but it also is very cost effective, and it, you know, simple things like carrying those books around it is heavy. It is, especially for the young ones. I'm surprised at how heavy the book bags get for our elementary kids, and the thought of moving in the direction of having a digital device and getting the curriculum that way. I look forward to being able to repeat that across the other curriculums. Thank you.
And I just wanted to point out, for the people who watch the school board meetings and the other people who just take a look at the agendas and you go through them, we've added a section in the beginning of the page 4 and 5 of the agenda that defines what all the various funds are that we use. So sometimes when you're looking at things in here and you'll see, like the last one, the service agreement, the 572 fund, we've got, if you go to page 5, it kind of defines what that fund is, and it also indicates whether it's a pass-through or not. So sometimes you're like, well, why is the school using their funds for St. Joseph's and John's? That's not what I'm paying my tax dollars for. And so what it is it identifies that's a federal fund that comes to us, and we handle it. So if you're ever wondering exactly which funds or where this goes, or you see an item on the agenda and you're like, what is that? And believe me, when most of us started paying attention to this stuff, we all had the exact same questions. So if you just go back and reference back to the fund, it's pretty helpful to figure out where the dollars come from. So just thought I'd point that out. It was something that George added when he got here to our agenda, and it's been really helpful.
Cameron, one question. Part of this middle school curriculum guide, does it also mean that there's a change for the sixth graders as well? The fact that those sixth graders can get higher level courses as far as math and English, correct?
Correct. So that we have for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, honors courses in English language arts, science, and social studies are all self-selected. We're providing the parents with an individualized letter that states our teacher recommendation as well as where they scored on the national percentile rank for those tests and where we're recommending. Math is still a required benchmark score because of the progression. As we look at kids go to high school, we want to make sure that they're prepared and on the right track for the math that they'll be able to take through their senior year. But yes, they will have those courses in there. We have varied elective options that are going to be different. Oh yeah, we will. We had in 7th grade, as a part of the wheel, what we call the quarterly options that they had in 7th grade, we had Skills for Success, which has been moved down to the 6th grade as an organizational study skills course for our students. So there'll be a variety of elective options. They'll have a music option. Right now, we're doing a green and white day, green and white day in the 6th grade level. So they'll have art and PE. They'll have a music option, which we're excited to offer, that students in 6th grade can say, I want to be in the band, I want to be in choir, or I want to be in orchestra. And I know we're still fine-tuning some of those details, but that's only going to enhance our arts program to have that consistent option. And those students that are interested in those very specific music programs will have the opportunity to do that. Now, I know I'm missing one. Is that all of them? No, I got the music. I think I've got all of the electives that we have for 6th grade as well as some of the new ones. But yeah, that's very exciting for our 6th graders to come into that middle school team concept atmosphere.
The reason why I highlight it is from way back in the beginning of the facilities development committees, we wanted the middle school to be an increased place of learning for our children. And we're truly building the building with the educational needs of our children and how we can enhance that. So it's not just a big, great, shiny building in the middle of our, district. It's not just a building that's going to replace two old, outdated buildings that cost us a lot of money to heat and repair. It's a better place to educate. So that's just awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under D, Student Services, we have no items for this month, and then that takes us to item B, Human Resources, and Assistant Superintendent Jenny Pelko will give her report. Jenny?
Good evening, board members. I have the following items for your consideration this evening. Under E1, I have 2 resignations, Janet Burrows and Jacqueline Riley. Under E2, I have the retirement of Paul Consiglio. Although we will recognize Paul in May at our board meeting there, I would like to commend him for his continued efforts as we begin to search for his replacement and working with him to make sure we have a great person to replace him. Under E3, I have the following non-certificated appointments in food services. I also have appointments of certificated substitutes, as well as a non-certificated substitute. We have the appointment of a certificated Title I tutor who will be serving students at both Chapman and Moraski. I also have the appointment of our certificated testing consultant. We have an appointment of a certificated early entrance screening consultant for early entrance into kindergarten. I also have certificated supplemental contracts for athletics for spring. And we also have non-certificated supplemental contracts for more athletics for spring. Under E4, I have a change in hours for John Seitz. Under E5, we have a change in status for 2 of our monitors. Under E6, I have a contract recommendation, non-certificated for Eileen Gall. Under E7, we have certificated family medical leaves as well as non-certificated family medical leaves. Under E8, I have 3 parental leaves, certificated staff members. And under E9, we have 1 volunteer for Kids Hope, as well as several coaching volunteers. And that concludes my report, unless you have any questions for me.
No, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Nice job.
We have no items under technology, so Mr. Naso, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Rabba. That brings us to item 11, report on Polaris. Richard?
Thank you, Mr. Naso. I imagine many of you did not know that February is National Career and Technical Education Month, but Polaris is celebrating National Career and Technical Education Month. Some highlights, Polaris served over 8,000 adult students last year. 916 high school students currently attend Polaris. On average, a person with a career technical related associate degree or credential will earn between $4,000 and $19,000 more a year than a person with a 2-year humanities degree. The other, besides the adult education and the high school at Polaris, there are over 1,900 high school students currently enrolled in Polaris satellite programs. For example, here at the high school, we have the pre-engineering program, along with at the middle school, the Project Lead the Way program. But again, 62% of Polaris high school students attend college. So if you haven't already, remember to celebrate Career and Technical Education Month. It is my privilege and excitement to announce that our Polaris chef training team won their 7th straight state championship. Every year, the culinary program led by Chef Chris Olszewski, or Chef O as he goes by, goes to these different competitions, and it is part of the education that occurs at Polaris. And they've now won the state competition 7 years in a row. And I wanted to give a congratulations to Chris Ritz, who is a junior at Strongsville High School, and that's just great. And then in addition to that, Polaris sent a bunch of students to their information and office technology state competitions. And that one does everything from information technology, networking, business management. It's a contest for the students Over 50 Polaris students competed for regional awards, and 31 of them qualified for the state. A couple of them from Strongsville that I wanted to recognize. Philip Stepanov, he came in first in computer and network technology. He's a senior at the high school. And then I have a full page of students in the business professional, and I'm just gonna read their names, but they all came in first or second or third in their different categories. But Tyler Teets, Jared Hayter, Jada Moore, Elizabeth Wagner, John McCurdy, Jasmine Siko Tosto, apologies for messing up the name, Gabriella Vapanik, and Calvin Renaud, and Bashar El Halabi. They all were in that competition. They all represented Strongsville very well, and we congratulate them. A couple of announcements. Students or parents are invited to the Polaris College Credit Information Night. It's Wednesday, March 2nd at 6 p.m. It's targeted towards 11th and 12th graders and their parents, and some of the topics that they're going to review is college credit requirements, Polaris high school programs and credit requirements, and an overview of the Ohio Means Jobs website, along with navigating the financial aid process. If you are interested, you need to contact Diane Shaft at 440-891-7666. And then the last comment was that some of our Polaris students in the automotive program are going to be competing at the Greater Cleveland Auto Show. And again, it's the kind of hands-on things you get to do at Polaris. And that completes my Polaris report.
Thank you. Want to go right into legislation?
Oh boy, do I. The one legislation that I'll comment on is House Bill 420. There was a lot of back and forth on that, and it seems like they've resolved where they're going to go with House Bill 420, and this had to do with some of the state's report cards and how they were going to deal with students who opted out. And so the Ohio Department of Education is going to present two sets of grades. One grade would be with the students who opted out, counting as zeros, and one grade will be with the students who opted out, not being included in the grade, which just seems to me, as my personal editorial, just muddies all the waters a whole lot. But hopefully they'll resolve that at a future date and come up with a easy to review grade. And that completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Micko. Brings us to board liaison reports. City Council, Ludwig.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Naso. The city will be celebrating its 200 years since John Strong came to Strongsville on February 25th. And all the city buildings will be open, and the mayor encourages you to visit. He also has placed an ad in the Post, so if you get your Post, you can see all the schedule and the times that all the buildings are open. And as Mr. Ryba said, this facility here is open as well. And the Historical Village is open from 2 to 5 too. And he assures me there'll be plenty of birthday cake and punch available at the rec center, so everyone please come out. And next, Councilman Joe DeMio is for the 7th year helping organize the trip for the district's current 7th graders to visit Washington, D.C. Next fall. And there's an informational meeting April 7th at 7 p.m. at Strongsville High School. And you can call Joe. His number is 440-846-4563 with any questions or if you want to volunteer to help with this effort. He began this endeavor when the district ceased the trip 7 years ago, so he's been very committed to encouraging our 8th graders to visit Washington, D.C. The city's law director, Ken Kraus, will be leaving office, or his post, effective March 1st. And I wanted to also mention a big thanks to the city for partnering with the district for our facilities in the way of the aquatic center, and it allowed DJ to achieve what he's able to achieve, because if we don't have a pool in our district per se, but because the community has that rec center, we're able to have a phenomenal swim program. So that's my city council report.
Thank you, Jane. student, you want to go right into PTA?
Sure. This past February 4th, PTA Council hosted the annual PTA Founders Day Luncheon, and this is a day that PTA celebrates its founding in 1897, which, for those of you that want to do quick math, is 119 years ago. But the tradition in Strongsville is to recognize community members that make a significant contribution to the children of Strongsville. So each of the 12 PTA units honored an individual, and it's always a very enjoyable day. And that was the PTA Council.
Excellent. Student achievement?
Student achievement, okay. This month, I would like to highlight Janet Sawitsky. I'm not going to pronounce these names correctly. You'll have to help me, Cameron or Dan. Sawitsky? Sawitsky, see, I was close. And Danielle Galoja. Oh, yay. They're a dynamic duo that teach science and social studies to the 5th graders at Kinsner Elementary School. Throughout the year, they incorporate fun and creative methods to teach the curriculum. They utilize experiments and investigative techniques in many of their lessons. And one particularly interesting lesson that they just completed was on Earth and space. Students used Oreo cookies to represent the phases of the moon. I'm sure nobody was absent that day. They had a quiz that used different candies to represent different planets, and at the end of the lesson, the students created their own projects to demonstrate their favorite topic. The projects included mobiles, slideshows, cupcakes, planets, and more. And in social studies, to learn about the influences of English, French, and Spanish on the United States, parents provided piñatas, eclairs, tacos, quiche, and to highlight all the traditions that were brought to the Western Hemisphere from those countries. They also incorporate music, songs, role-playing, and videos to reach every student and their distinct learning style. So they try to make sure they reach all the students. And they report that the students are very engaged and enjoy their lessons. So that's our student achievement this month.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll backtrack up to Strongsville Education Foundation. We had a meeting last week, and I attended, and Cameron was there. And, they're bringing in some new members, so I think at our next meeting we can introduce some of the new members.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And they're working hard on the Jockeys and Juleps event, which will be at the Rec Center on the first Saturday in May for the Kentucky Derby, and that's a blast. So we've talked about it before. I'd highly recommend it to get a table. They're going quick, so that'll be a lot of fun. I think that's. And then also the Education Foundation, as you saw earlier, donated a table of or a rack of Chromebooks for $9,000. So that was much appreciated. And I think that's all for the Education Foundation this time. That brings us on to our board committee reports. Goes into Finance Committee. We didn't have a Finance Committee.
We have a meeting coming up, next week? We have a meeting March 3rd. It's before our next board meeting at 5:30, and it's for the purpose to review our our investments. We're currently investing our general fund dollars.
Okay. And although it wasn't a Finance Committee meeting, we did get together with the state auditors to review their report, and it was exemplary. There were no findings. It was a clean report. Even their management letter was void of any significant suggestions. And then just to George and Rob, our treasurer and assistant treasurers, credit, I asked the auditors, I asked our people to leave, so I asked George and Rob to leave the room, and we had a little discussion about the audit, how it went, and they had so many amazing things to say about these two and the work they're doing and the team that we have now in place. And they said they were very thrilled with where we were and the work they'd done. And so I just wanted to commend them and tell them an outstanding job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So that was excellent. So that moves us on to policy.
We have not met yet, but we look forward to in May.
We're meeting, we're going to get the next batch in here in March, so probably an April meeting.
Can't wait.
Me either.
Excellent. And then there was a facilities committee meeting last night that I attended. We kind of rehashed the 30-year plan that was presented. We talked about it a little bit, next steps in that process, and just how we're going to move forward and kind of build on what they presented. Looked at some different alternatives for some of the buildings, the demos, talked about that, talked about our expenses we have all this other construction that we have going, but then we have to maintain the buildings that we have as well. So we talked about some of the capital projects that will be going on, and, an integral part of what we're going to do is based on that 30-year plan. So, now that we've got a, renovated high school, we've got the new middle school, now we've got to look at the, in that 30-year plan, we identified the middle schools that are in the best shape that will be going forward, and then ultimately the replacement of some of the older elementary schools, excuse me, I think I said middle schools, but elementary schools. And so because of that, with that 30-year plan, we can now marry that up to what our capital spending plan is to make sure that we don't spend money in places where we don't need to spend money. So we want to apportion that money and make sure every dollar of that goes to the right place. So we sat down and we sat as a group and we talked about, okay, here's the 30-year plan, here's our capital budget, let's make sure they're all in sync. So we married those up. So at some point, we're going to have to come back to the board. They presented the 30-year plan. We have to come back as a board and say, okay, we agree with this plan, or we have the following questions, because that's the roadmap for going forward. And the facilities committee would like to get that feedback from us, so I think we need to put that on the
next agenda, yeah.
On the next agenda, just to make sure they get our feedback and we understand where that's going. And I don't think we'll have any, we might have questions, but it was a great plan, so we're good with that. And that was the meeting last night. That brings us to item 15, the consent calendar. All items with an asterisk get approved in one vote. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Duke.
Second.
Thank you, Richard. Any discussion? I don't think we had any modifications, so.
You had the one.
We had the one with,
That was a separate vote.
That was a separate.
That was a separate
Okay.
vote, so it's not consent. Any discussion? How about, take a vote, George?
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Excellent. That gets us to Board of Education Other. Do we have any other?
I do.
Okay.
Just as a reminder, a week from this Saturday is the Chili Open, Rotaries, Chili Open. It's at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds in Berea. It's a lot of fun, and all the money goes to charity. The very next day, that Sunday morning, the Strongsville Athletic Boosters have their breakfast. And then, as Carl had mentioned, May 7th is the Jockeys and Jolts for the Strongsville Educational Foundation. The money made from those types of events, just in our agenda today, the grants that was provided to our district from the Strongsville Educational Foundation totaled to $12,499. That's a lot of money. And finally, an apology to Steve Breckner. I call it the Steve Dietrich parking lot. It's the Steve Breckner project. He's the one who brought it up during the construction meetings and said, what can we do and to increase parking for the kids? So I'll put a little sign there, Steve. At least I'll hammer it in there, and as long as it lasts, it lasts. So that's it for me.
Yeah, thank you, George. And I just wanted to mention, I think we've mentioned it a couple of times, but we've got the Boosters Flapjack Breakfast fundraiser. It's at Applebee's on Sunday, February 28th, from 8 to 10 in the morning, $10 for adults, $7 for children. So if we can support that, that would be great. Anything else?
I had one, if I may.
Sure.
As you mentioned the audit, I know you recognized myself and Rob, but I also wanted to recognize the rest of our treasurer's office, who's been phenomenal since we've got here, doing amazing work that's been keeping on our toes, that we were able to have such a great audit as well. So the ones behind the scenes that are truly the ones that keep the work going, that keep us in compliance. So it's been a team effort. So I just wanted to recognize everyone as well.
Excellent.
So,
I have another too.
Ah, excellent.
The Historical Society is hosting an evening with John Strong at the Old Town Hall on February 23rd at 7 p.m. So that's this coming Tuesday. And again, there'll be cake. So there's going to be lots of cake this year in Strongsville. So all are invited to hear about the early days of Strongsville, that we begin our year-long celebration of our bicentennial.
Who's playing John Strong? I want to know that one.
I don't know. Someone's going to be John Strong. We're having John Strong. He's resurrected.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
With the board's permission, obviously we have a lot of projects going on currently. And last time you had made the request that, for our work session, we kind of cleared the deck and focused on the 30-year plan presentation. I've talked to our team and asked them to kind of do similar fashion as we move forward in the work session, of hold items that can be held until the regular meeting because as we talk about reviewing the 30-year plan, we're going to have an update on our maintenance program. As we look at redoing transportation across the district with our new boundaries and our new middle school, we'd like to get an update from the transportation department. So until further notice, what we are going to do as a team, with your blessing, is to ensure that the work session is able to provide the board and community updates with all the projects we're going, and take all the routine items that we can and move them to the regular meeting so we can have the time to fully discuss and get in depth as to some of the projects and topics that are ongoing in our district.
Great, excellent. And make sure your team gets a lot of rest and water and food, because it's gonna be a busy 6-9 month period.
right.
It's gonna be a lot
We
going
can
on.
just put them in the high school this summer.
Yeah, when we take the roads out. It's gonna be. All right, we have a meeting notification. We have March 3rd board meeting, 7 o'clock right here, followed by one on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day right here. Join us for the Green Fun. We'll be here singing and dancing. We do have need for executive session tonight on the following items.
To prepare for negotiations or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, to consider matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations or state statutes, and to consider the employment of a public employee or official.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Dave.
Second.
Thank you, Richard. Can I have a vote?
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Motion passes. Enter executive session. 9:55 or 8:55.
8:55.
Not that long a break. Don't say that, I got a long drive.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And we have no public business when we resume.